All right, we are live. Today is Thursday, January 14th, 2021, and this is our last weekly development meeting before the Backdraft 118 release. Let's start with some quick introductions. I am Jen Lampton, joining from Oakland, California. I'm also joined by a sleeping cat in a sunbeam. So I'll turn this over to Tim.
Just to introduce myself, Tim Erickson. I'm St. Paul Tim in Deerwood, Minnesota. And as I reported before, we're having a nice snow today. And I want to get a camera someday that I can point out the window when I'm doing my intro. Anyways, just here to find out how things are looking for tomorrow, the release. Justin. Introduce.
Hi, I'm Justin Christopherson. I'm in Denver, Colorado, and just help out with small infrastructure things here and there. Greg.
Hi, I'm Greg. I'm usually in Australia, but now joining from Greece. As usual, interested in anything related to Backdrop, and also joining to see how I can help with the release tomorrow. Luke?
Luke McCormick in beautiful, warm, sunny San Ramon, California. Trying to keep my intros really concise. Phil?
Hey, Phil Ward out of Wichita, Kansas. Yep, don't have anything in particular to discuss today. Just kind of wanted to see how things progress right before the new release. Yay. And we'll go ahead and send it on over to Nate.
Thank you. I'm Nate Lampton in Oakland, California. And yeah, like others, we've got the release coming out tomorrow. Many of us Americans have been preoccupied with recent events, but fortunately, everything is pretty much all set up for the release tomorrow. And yeah, I think that we'll have a pretty easy transition, I think, tomorrow to get that out. Although we do have some issues to discuss today, so we'll get to those later. Back to you, Jen.
Okay, first up on our agenda, we have a new community contributor, Retzel, ported the grid field formatter module and is applied to join the contrib group. So welcome and thank you for your work on grid field formatter. We also have several new contributed projects this week: web form, submissions, bulk delete, safety editor skins, facet API, and node authorized link, which is pretty cool. Next, we're going to talk about Backdrop 1.17.5. So I'm going to turn it over to Nate.
Thanks. So as I mentioned last week, 1.17.5 is the milestone 1.17.5 is probably where a lot of people are or should be putting their efforts, because they consist of the bug fixes that we can still include before the release of 1.18. And I see that there have been a lot of things that have been happening over the past week to further that goal of getting some issues resolved before 1.18 is released. Let's see. So there are some new items and some old items in this list. The site getting stuck in maintenance mode during upgrades, 3956. That one's been marked that it needs testing for a couple of weeks. And it currently still is that state that there's a pull request and we just need confirmation that it looks okay. Or sorry, that it works okay is really the key thing. Let's see. Small issue, PHP notices when installing modules that have submodules, issue 4640. Says the status is PR works for me. I think that actually got moved to RTBC. Could be wrong about that. Anyway, very small issue. We're getting PHP notices. Throw a warning if max input vars is not properly set, issue 3824. This one seems like it got stuck a little while back. Back in December, we haven't seen any updates to that issue in several weeks. I'm not sure if we should possibly take that one out of our regular repertoire. The big issue was increasing max input vars, which we did, but this is now about warning people if that attempt to set max input vars higher didn't actually take effect.
I think we have consensus on that one, but I was unsure how to produce a pull request with the desired result because it would duplicate the message on the page. But Gregory posted a pull request earlier this week where he called backdrop get message before a backdrop set message. It would make the previous message disappear. And so I was wondering, just while we have a core committer present, if that would be an acceptable solution, or if there was danger there of accidentally deleting other messages that might need to be rendered on the second page.
Is it the same message twice?
Yes.
Is that the problem?
No. So in his case, it was the preview. The preview message was showing up when the node form was saved. And so we wanted to remove the preview message. So it doesn't say, this is only a preview. We have saved your node. So in my case, though, I have the same message appearing twice. So I have sent a message on the form when it loads, and then I set the same message on the form when it submits. But after it submits the form, it reloads the form first. So you get both the warning when it loads and the warning when it submits.
So we can at least avoid the duplicate problem because backdrop set message takes a third parameter for whether or not it should duplicate if the same message is sent twice, which, by the way, I think should be set to false by default because that is absolutely crazy
Nate,
that
sorry.
we print the same message twice ever.
Sorry, Nate, just to say that this is what you're referring to is the backdrop set message that has a second parameter.
Yep.
We're talking about backdrop get messages without any parameters, which all it does, it clears a certain type of messages. But if you don't pass any parameters, it clears all messages before printing any other.
That always makes me nervous doing that because it could suppress other messages that you might not have intended, such as PHP notices or something like that. That if there was another error that occurred or a warning, it would wipe that message out from being printed.
Maybe we can add a property to that.
Yeah, so Peter did I think it was this one because there's two related issues. Did a code review and left a message with regards to only doing the warnings. So specifying this to warning, and I had the opposite concern that if in the future we add another message in the preview form, info type, for example, that one will bleed again into the the saved page. So we could go with what is current and just hide warnings. So it's just
Is there a get messages alter?
There's an issue to talk about get backdrop set messages and possibly start providing keys when you provide a message, because then that would open up all kinds of opportunities to altering them or suppressing them or taking the one message out and not other messages, none of which we have. Because that would solve this particular problem. We could just remove that one message if it was there and then put it back. But we don't have that capability right now, other than just straight up string matching or something.
Good X wish list item.
So adding a warning parameter to get messages would get rid of this warning specifically now, and any other warning though. But the PHP notices are errors. So would that put your mind at ease, Nate? Your concerns with regards to that?
I am not sure, especially, especially because we're showing this message after something has gone wrong. Isn't that the situation in which this would occur if max input parse is not high enough?
Saved and everything's good, it shows a warning and says this is only a preview. It won't be saved.
So Nate, you might be confused. So we're talking about there's a warning that says when you hit preview for a node before saving it, there's a warning at the top of the page that says this is a preview, nothing is saved. You need to click the save button. And when you click the save button, there's a success message that says everything has been saved. But before it, we repeat the warning that says this is a preview, which is totally.
That's exactly the same scenario I'm in, where you want to put the message on the form, but after you save the form, it shows the form message before it shows the success message.
Okay. Interesting. So there's just a similar problem that needs the same solution type thing.
It's the same internal mechanism that's causing the double message.
Got it.
Or save loads form before results.
Okay. I wonder if it's really just the form being loaded twice. I wonder if there's some solution that we can pursue that's like, is there something in form state values or something like that to just suppress the message? Because the second time the form is built, we should be able to detect that it's being built for the reasons of submitting the form, I think.
I had a really hard time with that. I spent about an hour and a half. It depends at which point you put the message. I was trying to put it in process form, and process form doesn't have anything you can access in there. I think if you did it on like build form or I don't know, there's a couple of places in the form rendering pipeline where you do have access to that. But I needed to be at a particular point where I didn't have access to any of that previous information. I don't know, Gregory, I haven't looked at the pull request at which point your message is added, but there are circumstances where you don't have access to form state values yet.
Yeah, so the short answer to the question is that I'm not really comfortable with suppressing messages. I really would find it to be less than acceptable solution.
Seems like the easy way to go, but yeah, all right, maybe it needs a little bit more thought.
Yeah, so I'd like to keep looking and working on it to see if we have any other options available to us. And ideally, if we could just not print a message twice, like detect that we don't need to set it, that would be the best way, based on what we have.
Just for a backstory, with regards to the preview page specifically, what we do is instead of showing the messages, instead of adding the backdrop set message when rendering the preview page, we add it to the function that adds the ribbon with the save button at the bottom, right? And we have a note there that says we have specifically added this here so that it can persist. See how we switch display modes? There's a drop down that switches display modes. When we were doing the switching, the warning would disappear. So we specifically added it there so that it persists. And now we achieved that persistence, but when we save, the side effect is that it persists one more time when it shouldn't. Yeah, anyways, all
right. Okay, so that's a little bit of a can of worms. I might also, in the case of 3824, where it's about max input vars, I know this has been discussed also, but possibly if we, I could be wrong about this, but if we don't display the first message, but only display the second message, like that is also an option, isn't it? Where we only show the message when something has gone wrong and not beforehand. Isn't that, Jen, something that's been discussed a couple of times?
Right now there's a warning on a form and an error when you hit save. We could remove one or the other.
Yeah. So that's also a possibility. My understanding is that calculating the number of variables beforehand is tricky. Calculating afterwards, after the error has occurred, is a little easier, but it's also like after a problem has occurred. So
just for the record,
you're using the same count though either time. So what I ended up doing is we already have a place where we're counting all of the form element values in the render process. And so that's where the first message is added. And then I think I added it as a property to the form array so that you also have access to that same number after it's been processed, I think.
I think Doc Wilmot has a comment about this issue in Zulip, if anybody wants to. I'm not really following this discussion, so I'm not sure if it's relevant or not.
Wonder who else is like, I'm not logged into Zulip.
I just had to find the right browser tab.
Well, here I can read it. He said, can we just unset that one message on form submit, or can we do like layout and set a div themed as a message?
Instead of actually setting batch of set message, add a form element that is styled, or or a div. Yeah,
Yeah.
that could be a
That's a good workaround. So the reason we can't remove only the one message is because we don't have any key other than error warning info or whatever our options are for messages. But I think that was the issue. Allowing messages to be alterable that was posted. Oh, he found that already. Yeah, I like the fake a message thing though. And I think that could be.
I've been using that a lot.
Yeah, maybe Greg, can you look at that for your scenario? I'm not sure I can do that for mine because of the point in time. It's still at process and there's still nothing I can use to tell whether there's one message or two at that point in form rendering.
I'll probably explore my option, just replacing the warning that we have in the in the preview page with a pseudo message thing.
Yeah, that would kind of be in line with what we do. Although I don't like it, the table drag
I don't
warning,
like it,
you
but
know? Yeah, I don't like that either, but okay. Let's keep going. Sorry, I'm a little short on time today, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Some other issues that are moving along. Simple decimals fail to pass validation, issue 3792. I actually think that, oh, interesting. It's just like if you have a really long decimal, then like the higher the precision the decimal, then I guess sometimes it starts failing, which is crazy. Anyway, the PR is marked works for me. It needs code review. The issue is 3792. This one's interesting. Gregory, I think one of yours, show CK editor on the site status page. So show the CK editor version on the site status page, issue 3360.
Yeah, I had some feedback from people that were reviewing it. So maybe I'm doing a little bit too much, but like there's things that need to be removed. So there were messages about assuming that the message was being seen by someone that doesn't have access to configure CK editor, and then asking them to go to their site admin and do things for them, like adjust permissions. And we decided that maybe it's a better idea to not include that. So it just needs cleanup, removing things rather than.
Yeah, just to show the message or just to show the version. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, okay. Should be able to do it tomorrow.
Okay. Let's see. Another one related to CK editor, the administrative display for rearranging the buttons of a CK editor toolbar, issue 4832. They do not work correctly in RTL languages. Pull request is marked works for me. Needs a code review. This last one just got added. Language names not translated into their native names. Issue 4511. I have not read this issue. Gregory, looks like you have been involved a little bit.
I think I added it to the agenda just because I was looking at some recently active issues and noticed that there was a debate about whether or not this would qualify for a bug fix release.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought maybe that's something we could resolve, but Gregory can.
Yeah, so the last discussions, the last messages, there are some people threw the idea of using a third-party library that handles grading the strength of the password. And then some comments being added there saying that certain of those libraries require PHP 7.
You jumped forward, Gregory. We're talking about language translation.
Oh, okay. Sorry, which one? 4511. Okay, so last I recall, because it's been a few days since I last saw that one, is that we needed to decide which places are better fit to show the native name, and also which ones should show both, like in brackets. And I think we came to a conclusion. So it just needs testing and review.
Yeah, but I was just wondering, there's a question about whether or not this is suitable for a bug fix. It's currently marked as a milestone for 1.17, and Herb Duel said he's not sure that it's suitable for a bug fix. So
Well, it's been the way that the issue title is phrased and the label is a bug report. It's not introducing anything new. It just restores or changes something that is already displayed, being displayed in a certain other way.
yes, but in the last several days, Herb Duel said, I don't think this goes in 1.18, and Indigo Zala said, well, I don't care, just so it goes in. So somebody's
Yeah.
so there's a discussion about whether or not that the label is correct.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's
It does look like this. Like it has an update hook, adds a parameter to a function, and it adds a field to when you set up a language, you can specify the native language name. So it's definitely adding stuff that this could be called a feature. So yeah, I'm not sure about this. I need to look at it a little bit more, whether or not it's something that could go into a bug fix release. Where there's it's also that funny gray area where it's like, well, if it goes in before tomorrow, well, it does go into a minor release, right?
That's true.
Okay. Well, that needs some more looking at. Discussion about when it should go in is also a factor. And then there are also several RTBC issues. Increasing the password strength requirements, basically, issue 4602. I like that this issue Herb Duel raised. It's because, Jen raised it because according to the standards for security, like they actually have like specified limits saying how many characters indicates a fair versus a strong password, and that we should be following those those standards regarding our own password strength indicator. So 4602 just brings backdrops indicator in line with those standards. Let's see, fixing translated parent menu items. When you select a parent menu item, if it's been translated, then it doesn't give you the correct options to choose its parent from the same language. Issue 3857, sorry, TBC as well. Indicate the vocabulary when editing a term, issue 3811. I like this one, that it's just like when you're adding a term or editing a term, it just puts into the title what vocabulary you're inside of when you're doing that operation. Great little usability improvement. And the current user context in a layout does not contain a user entity. This is issue 2398. This occurs when you add a field when you try to add a block to a layout that contains a user field on the current user, it currently throws errors, and this fixes that problem to make it so that you can pull fields off of the current user. So 2398, that one's also marked RTBC. And there are also a couple of smaller issues that just fix PHP notices that have also been marked RTBC. So there's a good number of items that are in the queue for RTBC that I will go through and get all of those merged in before the release tomorrow, because all of these are really trivial, good fixes that don't really require a lot of effort. That's all I've got for the 117.5 milestone. Those are issues that we have the possibility of getting fixed before the release tomorrow. There are also a number of other issues in the 117.5 milestone. If you're wanting to do some last minute fixes, that's the place to look for things that could get in before the release tomorrow. All items that were in the, oh, go ahead.
It's not 119, is it? It's 118.
Oh, I'm sorry, 118. Yeah, sorry. The next section
It's
in
wrong. There's a typo.
agenda is called 119 because there is nothing else for 118. 118, we don't have anything, any changes that are marked specifically for 118. We're now in feature freeze until tomorrow. So the next things that we have to work on are 119, which right now just consists of the things that were carried over from 118. So I'm not sure that we need to recover these items again today, since we're probably not going to see a whole lot of activity on them until post-release. It is a good time to start thinking about 119 issues and what we'd like to see in the next release. That will be April 15th. And yeah, start brainstorming.
May. Isn't it May?
Am I wrong about that? May
Yes.
15th. I'm sorry, May 15th. So it's a good time to start thinking about things that we want in the next release. We'll, again, I think we've been discussing, we'll have a meeting probably towards the end of January or the first month or first week of February to like get together, discuss the options that we have available before us, and then kind of set priorities and try to solicit advocates for 119 features. Let's see, initiatives before we close out. The telemetry initiative and the ready to wear initiatives are active initiatives that we have going on right now. Might not hurt to give us a little update if anything has happened on those items as of late. So telemetry, Tim, you're the advocate for this issue. Do we have any updates on it?
Not 2 weeks ago, I did finally do some testing on it. I don't believe I fully updated the issue yet, but we kind of decided that we weren't going to get anything into 1.18. So, but we did move the ball a little bit forward. So I think the next step is really to update the issue. We have to start making some policy decisions about implementing this and get something into 1.18 or 1.19. That's all.
All right. The ready to wear initiative, Luke, do you have any updates?
Sure. There's a bunch of things going on. I'll try to keep it super concise and do a more detailed follow-up in the online forums. But the big thing is we're going to do a meeting on Tuesday to try to finalize some things at the moment. Looking for sample content that can be used to test ready-to-wear themes. Looking to flesh out the descriptions and sort of metadata associated with a chosen set of themes. And finally, to create a little content about the sort of edge issues that are almost but not quite part of the sort of like central theme elements of ready to wear, just so that the MVP prototype site explains, the things that are covered and other places to go. I talked about it a little bit in the design meeting, so I didn't want to like overly duplicate things, but the takeaways there are meeting on Tuesday and information in Zulip and the forums coming describing what that meeting will accomplish. And next week a report about where we are after the meeting.
All right, great. Well, that's it for initiatives. We also have a little bit of time here for just general questions, if you guys would like to bring up anything else.
Around what time we're going to start cutting the release?
It's a good question. So we had talked a little bit about parties. I don't think that I've had the brain space for parties recently, but we had discussed about getting the release out earlier in the day so that if there were parties that we could attend them afterwards. Obviously with the pandemic happening and raging around us, it's not a good time to be leaving your house. but we could still have an online party of some sorts. Not
With
sure what that would look
cookies.
like. Wait.
There's a backdrop cookie recipe that's kicking around.
Where's
we
that
should-
posted?
It's not. That's a possible thing to do.
Oh.
I actually want to throw that at the outreach meeting last week. We talked about sort of outreachy things that come around the release that currently fall on the shoulders of the poor overworked developers, and so at this point I actually just kind of want to ask like what are some of those things that the developers are ready to do but are tired and looking to outsource.
Mm.
Around the release, you mean? How,
Yeah,
how
yeah,
can you help out?
For example, updating the Wikipedia page, I know something that Greg does, and blog posts and newsletters and things like that.
Yeah,
Honestly,
just the blog post. I'm not sure we have a blog post, do we? We don't.
Not yet, no.
yeah, minor releases, yeah, blog posts are always a bit of an issue, although Tim has been doing a really excellent job with those in the past.
Sure, and I might be able to help with that tomorrow, but Luke, if you have the bandwidth and want to do it, that would be great.
We should have an issue that has all the stuff that we need, the 117 preview issue. And there's like draft a blog post, draft a newsletter, like all that stuff on there that doesn't have a box checked. It's probably something we need help with.
Yeah, we could go ahead and make the 118 release issue, Jen, and then if
Yeah, but
we have
it's
volunteers
the
for
stuff-
other things.
It's the stuff on the preview release that we need help with, because all that stuff is like publish all of the stuff, like the 118 checklist is like publish all the things. But if they aren't written yet, yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that write the blog post was a 117-ish, or was the
the
preview
Yeah.
thing. And well, that's smart. That would be good of us if we did that. Yeah. Oh, I also want to give props again. Even though we already mentioned this last week, I think it was that creating the release notes also was a huge hassle. Like that always took a long time, and nobody liked doing it very much. But thanks to some recent effort by BW Panda, that has now become automated, where the release notes are created automatically for us. When we close the milestone, we set up a GitHub Actions job on the issues repository that generates the release notes based on what issues were closed in that milestone, based on the GitHub issue repository. Super helpful. It also can do things like give credit to individuals. Like it can actually aggregate everybody that participated in that release and then generate a thank you list. And it also incorporates things that were fixed that were marked in the milestone that aren't necessarily code related. So previous work was all based about reading the Git history. Now it reads the issue history instead, and that gives us better opportunities to credit people and to note work that we've done over that time period. So
Amazing.
A 118 preview release checklist. Do you guys know if there was one?
Oh, I don't know.
Nobody knows. Okay. There might not
you know what? I don't think there was one, Jen.
How did you do it?
Well, that's probably why not everything was done.
I'm still impressed that you guys knew all the steps, especially like, I don't know, I'm not a core committer, but there's a lot of like, check this out, revert this thing. I don't know, but I'm impressed. I suppose you've done it enough times.
Yeah, that part doesn't take long at all.
Okay.
Anyway, to answer the question, Gregory, I think if I were to put a target on it, I would say before 5 p.m. Pacific.
Time. Yeah.
That would be my objective. Yeah, basically before the evening of the 15th.
Okay. So regarding those plannings, we had talked about doing a virtual game night. I didn't do any prep. I did post last night to see if anybody was interested. There have been one or two minor hits. I'll just sort of leave that discussion open. If we want to do something spontaneously, we can, but there haven't been any big plans. I know that Indigozilla expressed a little interest, and she's in Europe, so late tomorrow is probably good, not good. So maybe doing something on Saturday afternoon just for fun. Very informal for anybody who wants.
Yep.
So just speak up in Zulip if you're interested in getting together and doing something this weekend, tomorrow night or Saturday.
Under the birthday party topic,
Yeah, under the
Great.
birthday.
which by the way, Backdrop turns 5. So very exciting. It's kind of surprising. It seems
Well,
like Backdrop is still new, but 5 years is a long time already.
It's off to kindergarten.
There's Nick and
Well,
Indigozella created a banner that said 6. So,
Oh, is it?
well, I don't know. I don't know if that's correct, but that's
Oh, you know what? It did come out in 2015. I'm just having major
Yes.
off by 1 errors today.
Yes, it's not your day today. It's like,
Yeah, because it came out in
But it's-
2015 and now it's 2021. Yep.
good.
yeah,
Then
you
the banner,
skipped 2020, rightfully. Most of it was
Yeah.
people tend to do that. It's like, yeah, it never happened. So, yes. So
Okay.
Jopo turns 20 and we turn 6, right?
Yep. Due to that
I'll buy that.
accident that just keeps on happening.
Yeah.
I still can't believe that we did that. That it's like, oops, we accidentally released on the same day as Drupal.
We're not
planned.
stealing the thunder, but
No, I like it that way.
Yeah.
It's
I
nice.
like it too.
Okay.
Right.
Well, great. Well, let's wrap it up for today. Thank you everybody for all of your work as always. I know the reviewing backlog that falls on me has been a little bit bad, but I'm hoping I'll get through the issues that are outstanding there. So thank you all. Yep,
Thanks.
excited about the release tomorrow, and see you guys on the internet.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.